Our story begins with a car traveling. Inside, someone is playing a very intense fighting game. It turns out to be a family, a father, a mother, and their son. The father says, "Gilsu, put the phone down." But the son doesn't respond and looks dead tired. Gilsu's mother says, "Your father is talking to you. You should at least answer him." The father stares out the car window, but the son continues to ignore him, thinking to himself that maybe his father regrets having such a weak and pathetic son like him. Meanwhile, we see scenes of him being bullied at school. The mother ends up saying that if other kids bully him at school, he should just leave. She says she wants him to have the most comfortable life possible. But he thinks she's a liar because she was the first to ask to move after he started being bullied at school. Meanwhile, he also loses in the game and thinks he should just survive on his own. As he approaches the new school, he thinks he just wants to escape from there. Anything could save him now: an earthquake, an invasion from North Korea. Upon entering the classroom, he introduces himself as Lee Gil-soo. He says he comes from the capital and has never been to these parts before. He says it's a pleasure to meet everyone, even though he wishes time would stop at that moment and nothing bad would happen to him. But suddenly, he hears applause and is surprised to see the whole class clapping and saying, "Nice to meet you, man. This is awesome." All the boys in the room are laughing and saying, "Wow, finally someone from Seoul is in our class. Huh." The atmosphere is completely different. One guy pats him on the arm and says, "Stop being so patriotic." Obviously, Gil-soo is completely taken aback by this, and some time passes. At the end of one of the classes, a very big and chubby guy approaches him and says, "Hey, kid." He sees two boys looking down at him, and he's obviously surprised, remembering what happened to him before. But when the guy grabs his shoulder, he simply asks if he's still not used to things around here and suggests they go to the convenience store nearby, offering to show him around the school as well. Gil-soo, again, is very confused because he's not used to being treated like this. At the convenience store, he thinks it's the first time he's gone to one with someone like a friend. Suddenly, the guy starts joking with his friend and asks, "What do you think of this guy's eyebrow? Do you think it's a good enough reason for his girlfriend to break up with him?" And Jules, the Joker, says, "I think you've got your charm." And in his head, Gil-soo is thinking, "Wow, I didn't expect that kind of question." He thinks to himself, "What kind of school is this? Everyone seems happy here." He thinks he could also be happy. Without meaning to, he accidentally bumps into someone, spilling grape juice and staining their shirt. Always desperate in such situations, he offers money to clean the clothes, but the guy just says it's fine. He looks back, thanks Gil-soo for the offer, and then smiles, thinking it was nice of him. Gil-soo realizes that maybe he could have a normal life at this school. Later, at the end of class, while packing his bag, he thinks that the atmosphere at this school is completely different from his old one. Everyone is nice and kind, and it seems like he didn't care about anything. He feels happy to have moved. Suddenly, the same guy who invited him to the convenience store asks if he has plans for the evening. Gil-soo says no, and the guy asks if he wants to go somewhere with him. Gil-soo says no again, but the guy insists that he has to show him a place. Gil-soo ends up agreeing. Since it's already night, they walk down a very dark and deserted street. Gil-soo thinks they've been walking for a long time and has no idea where they're going. He asks Duel what they are going to do, as they have been walking for a long time. Duel responds, "I want to show you a place. Everyone new at school has to go there." Gil-soo thinks, "What do you mean?" and realizes they're getting farther from the city. Duel suddenly stops and asks, "Have you ever had any experience with boxing or something similar?" Gil-soo asks, "Boxing? No, not really." Then Duel laughs and says, "Hey, then you're going to need a bagoose to be in this place." "No kidding, okay?" He really said bagoose. Then he says, never mind. Let's hurry because we're almost there." Gil-soo looks at his arm and notices something he hadn't seen before. He has several scars. Gil-soo remembers again what they did to him at the old school and with the bullies. He starts getting very nervous in the middle of the street and begins to apologize, saying he has to go and can come another day. But Duel puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "We're almost there. Just come take a look. If you're very busy, I'm sure you won't like it, but I think you'll like it." Gil-soo thinks he's been deceived by this guy. He thinks it was all a lie, all the kindness, all the smiles. He starts to defend himself, thinking he's going to be bullied again. But when the doors open, he sees two people fighting frenetically. There are several other boys from the same school cheering like an organized crowd. Suddenly, one of the boys is knocked down with a kick to the face, while the other boys say, I'm next, I'm next." Gil-soo can only think, "What do you want me to do?" Duel says, "You must be shocked by this, right?" He explains that this is the school's fighting arena and that it's a great privilege that only the students of this school can be here. Despite saying this, the two fighters respect each other. One of them says, "Yeah, you're getting much stronger. And the other responds, yeah, I'm getting heavier. Gil-soo thinks, what do you mean by fighting in an arena? Suddenly, a big guy arrives and asks, hey, kid, who's that next to you, Duel? Zhang Xiong, he is the president of Six Gates School. Duel says, he's the new transfer student from my class. And Duel thinks, wow, this guy here looks really scary. The guy with the prominent eyebrows looks at Duel and says, oh, I was waiting for you to get here. I'm going to make you pay for messing with my eyebrow. Duel quickly runs off, saying, oh, I'm going over there. Suddenly, the big guy introduces himself to Duel, saying he is the president of the Six Gates Student Council. He says, welcome to our school. Meanwhile, Gil-soo thinks, my god, this guy is huge. In the background, a fight is happening, and people are cheering. Du and Eyebrow Guy are fighting. Gil-soo wonders, why are they fighting? I thought they were friends. Jang, standing next to him, shouts, even the heat this year isn't bad, right? Jang turns to Gil-soo and says, this is the true face of our school. Jang continues explaining, I don't know if you've noticed, but no one gets bullied at our school. But even without bullying, we have violence. We just confined it to the arena. Jang, with a confident look on his face, says, you must have gone through a lot of crap at your old school, right? Instead of getting stressed here, in a school where everyone is equal and violent. Meanwhile, the jiu-jitsu here is terrible. This place is called the Six Gates Fight Arena. And this place is the Six Gates Arena. Gil-soo is still amazed by the fight, wondering how everyone is equal and violent. Jang gets very close to Gil-soo and says, I don't like anything complex, so I'll explain it to you, and you won't ask me to repeat it. Rule number 1, only Six Gates students can enter here. Entry is not allowed for graduates, dropouts, or expelled students. Rule number 2, all fights are hand-to-hand, yes or no. No third person is allowed, no matter what. Rule number 3, a student council member will judge the fights. They also decide when the fight ends. Suddenly, the guy that Gil-soo accidentally stained earlier says, hey, you're here too, kid? Gil-soo thinks it's the same guy whose shirt he dirted. Gil-soo starts taking off his tie and says, come on, I'll make you pay for the clothes. Jang says, wow, you already have an opponent, go ahead, you'll learn. Gil-soo is like, what do you mean, learn? Jang explains the 4th rule. Any kind of violence is prohibited outside the arena, and any grudges you have, you will resolve in the arena. He says this is the most important rule and tells him not to be afraid and just have fun. Gil-soo steps into the ring and thinks, what do you mean, enjoy fighting? My daily routine was just getting beaten up. As the referee prepares the fight, Gil-soo thinks even more about the guy who looks all pumped up. With clenched fists, he thinks, with my 3 years of experience as a bullying victim, the fight begins, and he thinks, my instincts are telling me to get out of here. The fight begins, and people are already cheering. One guy says, wow, this guy is really unlucky to end up straight in the ring. The guy thinks, calm? What do you mean? Is this guy famous? I think he's a freshman, right? He realizes that the guy is the brother of someone very cool who joined the school this year. Kong says, hey, newbie, aren't you coming? I was thinking of going easy on you since it's your first day. Gil-soo thinks, my god, I'm so scared. My body won't even move. How did I end up in a fight like this out of nowhere? The guy says, if you don't come, I'll come to you. He runs towards Gil-soo. In his mind, Gil-soo becomes increasingly desperate. But suddenly, there's a loud noise. It leaves everyone stunned. In reality, Gil-soo just vomited on Kong, and everyone starts shouting, pause, pause, pause. The guy vomited here. Man, for God's sake, he vomited on him. Gil-soo thought to himself, what do you mean? Can I, a guy who's been bullied my whole life, do this? The next day at school, people were talking about it. Man, yesterday in the arena was crazy, right? You should have seen it. Hugo, he didn't transfer and vomit on Kong. Meanwhile, Gil-soo was sitting in the bathroom thinking, wow, I'm so screwed, I'm so screwed. He realized, this is a normal school, what do you mean? He remembered the principal saying, don't be afraid, just have fun. And he thought, forget about having fun, I won't even be able to punch anyone. What happened yesterday will probably happen again today. But then he thought to himself, if there's no violence at school, just don't go to the arena. Meanwhile, Yoon was doing a lot of push-ups with both feet. When Gil-soo arrived, he was completing his 1000th one. And the guys were like, I was wrong, actually he's not the school principal, he's the student council president. Gil-soo and I thought at the same time, how is this guy a student, man? Suddenly, Yoon stands up and says, hey, newbie, do you have something to say to me? Embarrassed, Gil-soo says, yes, I have something to ask you about the arena. Yoon says, oh, you've developed another skill besides vomiting. The other kids start saying, hey, hungry boy? Everyone was becoming a fan of him because he vomited. And Gilsoo says, "No, it's not that. Actually, I want to say that I won't be going to the arena any." Chang says, "What do you mean? Why? You didn't get hurt last time." Gilsoo says, "In fact, I don't trust myself to fight with anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone, and I don't want to be hurt either because I don't know how to do that." He added that he doesn't understand everything. But suddenly, Young just puts his hand on his face, and with a big smile, he says, "So, does that mean I can beat you up as much as I want now?" Then he steps out and says, "I, Young Sung, have an announcement to make. From now on, the student Gilsoo no longer has the protection of the arena." At first, Gilsoo is shocked. Later, during the break between classes, he thinks, "What do you mean, protection of the arena?" Suddenly, students from other rooms come in and say, "So this is the transfer student who doesn't want to fight in the arena anymore." The guy grabs Gilsoo with all his strength and slams his head into the table, saying, "Then I'll teach you a lesson. Actually, needed a slave and now you're going to be mine." He realizes that no one around is doing anything while he's being beaten. While he's already down on the floor, the guy says, "I think he came here because he was bullied at his old school." And the other guy says, I knew at the moment I started getting hit. Every time there's a break, you come to my class." Meanwhile, Gilsoo thinks, so this is the protection of the arena. If you don't participate, you end up being bullied in school. As he continues to be stomped on by the other students, he realizes his hell has begun again. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, he says he wants to leave the school. The principal responds, "Wow, but it's only been a week at the school." Gilsoo says, "Yes, I'm already prepared for the national exam, and that's more important to me." The principal then says, "All right, if there's nothing else I can help you with, I guess I'll support your decision. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, for having such a dishonorable son," he thinks as he leaves the school at sunset. Another horrible school cycle is over, and starting tomorrow, I'll have a normal life. But suddenly, Chang interrupts him and says, "Why aren't you fighting?" Gilsoo asks, "What's the problem?" and thinks that someone addicted to fighting can't understand what he's feeling now. He explains that he has a trauma from a lot of violence because he suffered terrible bullying at his old school. He says he's reached his limit and just wants to give up. But suddenly, Young approaches him and says, "You're more pathetic than I thought." Gilsoo is surprised by this, right? Young continues, "Who said you need to fight like a professional? Skill? Who needs that crap?" He adds, "If you don't have teeth, bite with your gums. If you don't have strength, use your stomach. That's what fighting is." Gilsoo doesn't understand, right? The president grabs him by the collar and says, "But now you don't even want to protect yourself." Gilsoo thinks, "Why is he doing this? What did I do wrong?" The principal says, "Wait, do you think this world is a garden full of butterflies? If you don't fight, you'll be a loser for the rest of your life." After he leaves, Gilsoo starts reflecting on this. He doesn't know what to do now. Suddenly, he is stopped by Kong, who says, "Oh, I heard you're not coming to school tomorrow." He asks, "How are you going to leave without even telling us?" Kong says, "If I leave, who will be my punching bag? Since the arena started, I've never had a slave." He continues, "Do you think everything will end when you leave the school?" and tells him to follow him now. Obviously, they take him to the place and start beating him again. In that moment, Gilsoo thinks he's going to die, but suddenly Kong says, "You should be grateful for this, Gilsoo, because if my older brother were still at 6 gates, you would have died for sure." Kong suddenly takes out his phone and asks one of his friends, "Is the address you sent me correct?" While Gilsoo wonders, "What do you mean, address?" the other guy says, "Of course it's correct." Kong says, "Now I know where Gilsoo lives." He recites Gilsoo's full address. Gilsoo is completely terrified. Kong says, "Let's see what happens the next time you don't participate in the arena." He gets up and asks, "What do you mean? What are you doing? What are you planning to do with my address?" he asks. Kong says, "Shut up." He grabs Gilsoo's face, takes a photo, and threatens to send it to everyone. Gilsoo is terrified and thinks, "Why are you doing this to me? What did I do wrong?" He thought everything was going to end, that his hell of pain was over, and that he had finally escaped it. But he was pulled back in again. He can't escape this hell. He remembers the principal saying, "Who said you need to fight like a professional? Skill? No one needs that crap. Fight with what you have. You don't even think about protecting yourself." Suddenly, while they're beating him, he screams, and Kong says, "This is so much fun." Now he's screaming. Gilsoo begins to think, "Why? Why me?" As Kang's phone goes flying, Gilsoo wonders, "What did I do wrong?" Kong says, "I told you he was stubborn." Now he's making a fool of himself. While Kong held his face, Gilsoo thought, "If I don't have teeth, I'll use my gums." Suddenly, Kong screams in pain. Gilsoo had bitten his hand. As he bites until it bleeds, he says, "If I don't have strength, I'll use my teeth. Kong punches him, and he falls. Both Kong and another guy ask him, do you want to die? Kong thinks, are you crazy? That hurt like hell. Gil-soo gets up and asks, did it hurt or not? Kong doesn't understand. Gil-soo rises like an animal, saying, if I'm going to die, I'll take you with me. Kong thinks, look at that. Now he's fighting back. Even a rat bites back, doesn't it? He asks, are you ready? The other guys come after Gil-soo as well. He comes back to life, punching the faces of these idiots. He remembers the principal and asks, what do you mean? You don't need to fight like a professional. He thinks, I don't need to look cool while fighting. I just need to do what I can. Kwang orders someone to grab him. Gil-soo kicks and thinks, are you crazy? Why did I suddenly counterattack these guys? Meanwhile, in the arena, the doors open. The principal looks on as Gil-soo says he's going to try again. With all the determination he has, he says he's going to enter the arena. Meanwhile, the guys are still chasing. The principal laughs and says, this is much more interesting than I thought it would be. This time, it's a rematch, Kong versus Gil-soo in the arena again. The tattoo guy says, I should be the one beating up this nerd, not Kong. This guy is the second in command in Kang's gang. His name is Park Yongdo. Another guy tells Yongdo, dude, lower your voice, we're not alone. Yongdo replies, I know, looking at the principal. Yongdo says, we always have to be cautious with the principal. Meanwhile, Gil-soo takes a punch to the face and a knee to the stomach. As Kong beats him, he says, did you think you could do something against me in a one-on-one? He knocks Gil-soo down with a big punch again. He says, seriously, this is so pathetic, and delivers a hard kick to Gil-soo's chin. He grabs Gil-soo by the collar and asks, do you regret it now? Gil-soo gives him a deadly look, and Kong thinks, you bastard, stop looking at me like that, and slaps Gil-soo's face. He says, what do you mean, trying to resist? You're a loser, you need to stay in your place. Again, he tries to kick Gil-soo in the face, which knocks him down, sending him rolling across the arena. Meanwhile, the guys are thinking, oh my god, is this guy still alive? Kong wonders, wow, did I go too far? Is this guy actually dead? But Gil-soo gets up, leaving everyone in shock. Kong thinks, what do you mean? This guy should have been knocked out by that kick. Then Kong thinks, stop pushing yourself, if you really keep going like this. Gil-soo says, kill me? With a demonic look, he says, is that all you got? He grabs Kong and thinks, this is nothing compared to everything I've suffered. He throws Kong down with everything he's got in the arena. The crowd says, yeah, he has some good moves, right? And another guy thinks, that burst of anger was really good. Kong wonders, where did he get this strength? He caught me off guard. Meanwhile, Gil-soo prepares to punch Kong, but Kong revives and says, where do you think you're going with those slow punches? Gil-soo thinks again, if you don't have strength, you have to use your willpower. He headbutts Kong. Kang's nose starts bleeding a lot. While the principal just watches, the guys in the background say, yeah, this guy must have good moves, he's much funnier than I thought. The principal thinks to himself that even during the adrenaline, Gil-soo continues to feel pain, and it must hurt a lot to do this. He thinks Gil-soo really has a lot of determination. Kong pushes Gil-soo off him and stands up, asking, do you have any last wishes before you die? Gil-soo, looking like a zombie, stands up very angry. He thinks, is this all they have to offer? This gang I was afraid of? Is this all they have to show in the arena? As he faces Kong, everyone cheers for Gil-soo. He runs towards Kong. As he prepares the punch, he says, why was I afraid of these guys all this time? But he ends up taking a hook. Kong says, sorry, but I can't let my guard down again. Gil-soo is knocked out, and the referee announces that Kong has won the battle. Later, in the arena, Gil-soo slowly opens his eyes and wonders where he is. He asks, was I knocked out? He says, even so, I managed to fight him. He admits, I never thought I would win, but I used all my strength to hit that bastard. I did everything I could. He thinks that in future fights, he should take it slower and not rush like he did. He considers that maybe Kang's weakness is being caught off guard, as it happened at the beginning of the fight. He thinks that if he were just a little bit stronger. Suddenly, he sees the principal standing over him. He asks, Tom, let's clear things up now. He looks around and realizes there's no one else there. He asks, did you stay here because of me? The principal replies, my duty as the principal is to look after the students who participate in the arena. This is not a place for anyone to die. In fact, it's a place to protect the student. The principal adds, you know it's just for today, right? Because starting tomorrow, when you leave the school, you won't be able to stay here anymore. Well, be careful out there. As Gil-soo is leaving, he asks, what do I need to do? The principal turns around, what do you mean? Gil-soo says, I'm not leaving the school anymore. Please, tell me what to do. I want to get stronger too. The principal gives a big smile and says, training the weak is also the duty of the student council president. While Gil-soo is stunned, the principal asks, are you ready? And immediately punches him in the stomach. As Gil-soo writhes on the ground in pain, screaming, the principal asks, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're going to die? He adds, this is just the beginning. I'm going to teach you how to endure this. The next day at school, Gil-soo is feeling intense pain in his ribs and thinks, wow, what kind of punch did the principal give me? I feel like something's broken. He recalls the principal telling him, come to me during your breaks, and you'll get stronger if you keep doing this. He wonders, is that all? To become stronger? Someone calls out to him, and when he turns around, he sees it's Doyle who says, ah, I thought you were leaving the school. Gil-soo replies, ah, I changed my mind. Doyle says, ah, I knew you would like the arena. Then Doyle kind of greets him and says, I knew you had the guts for this. Suddenly, someone else calls him while he's climbing the stairs, and it's Hang and his small group. Hung says, ah, the punching bag is back? Gil-soo thinks, he's strong. Hung says, I didn't expect you to come back. You're looking for revenge, right? But you should stay in your place, and you can bet I'll kill you next. As they walk away, Dui just looks at them with a strange expression. When he looks to the side to see Gil-soo's reaction, he gets very upset. Gil-soo is thinking, I'm going to get stronger so I never lose to these bastards again. Later, when classes end, we see Gil-soo taking a punch to the face, then another to the stomach, and we see who's hitting him. It's the principal. The principal says, keep your eyes open, don't be afraid, look straight at my fist. He adds, you're not ready to fight until our training is complete. As he takes the punch, Gil-soo thinks, what the hell kind of training is this? While taking another punch to the face, he thinks that he's been training like this for days. After several punches, the principal knocks him down with a kick. Lying all messed up on the ground, Gil-soo thinks it was just another beating. Later in the arena, Hung wins another fight. We were talking about Hung, but it's King. Sorry. On the way back, King wins another fight, and his opponent is all messed up on the ground. There are two guys talking in the crowd, and one of them says, yeah, ever since he faced the jiu-jitsu guy, he hasn't shown mercy to anyone. The other replies, yeah, I think his ego got hurt. Suddenly, Kong approaches them and says, if you're so confident, why don't you face me? Kong continues beating everyone like that, getting really angry and thinking these guys are all idiots. He goes back to his group and asks, have you seen jiu-jitsu around? They say they haven't seen him since the last breaks. One of them mentions he's avoiding the arena. When Kong thinks about it, he remembers the principal said that jiu-jitsu is no longer protected by the arena. He laughs and tells his group he has an idea to deal with the loser. Meanwhile, while running the marathon, he wonders if he'll really get stronger with this training method. Determined, he says to himself that he'll give it his all and keeps running hard. He knows he needs to get much stronger, much faster. Suddenly, a motorcycle comes speeding towards him and hits his arm. More motorcycles follow. As the others approach, one guy asks, hey, did you take my bike? As he gets off the bike, he says, excuse me, I think we need to have a discussion to resolve this. 5 million to pay. Gil-soo replies, how do you think Baramoto got that money? And it was you who hit me. The guy grabs his head and says, what did you just say, you loser, and punches Gil-soo in the face. As he tries to get up from the ground, the others laugh at him. While getting up, he starts reflecting again. The guy asks, hey man, are you deaf? Aren't you going to answer me? Gil-soo realizes he's not afraid this time. The guy says, do you think I'm just asking for the 5 million? I'm making you pay now, and you'll have to pay me again later. Gil-soo realizes he's not afraid because, during all this training, all this time, he's been beaten by a monster like the principal. Suddenly, he removes his hand from his face, revealing a big bruise, and shouts, why should I give money to someone like you? He says, I'm not afraid anymore. The guy grabs his hand and says, was that supposed to be a punch? Gil-soo thinks, what do you mean? My punch didn't work at all? He starts punching frantically, thinking, what do I do now? He admits he's never learned how to punch someone, only how to take a beating. The guy then kicks him in the face. The others grab him and say, do you think you're in a pool, swimming around and flailing your arms like that? Another guy pulls out his brass knuckle and says, you're an idiot. You can't do this to me again because I can't do this to you. The guy says, after he recovers from this, he'll realize he was in the wrong place. As he's preparing to punch Gil-soo, he says, okay, clench your teeth. Just as Gil-soo is about to take the punch, someone jumps down towards him. He looks up, thinking, what is this? And then takes a knee to the face. Blood pours from Gil-soo's nose, and the others are like, what's that? He says, get him too. And then we see it's Duel who came to help Gil-soo. He smiles at Gil-soo and says, ah, so it was you. One of the guys rushes at him and asks, "Where did you come from?" But Duel swiftly dodges the punch and hits the guy back. Another guy comes at Duel with a stick, but Duel also takes him down, knocking out one of his teeth. The girl who was with him is in shock and, instead of running, goes to the guy on the ground and says, "Ah, you idiot, get up. Are you going to leave me here alone?" Meanwhile, Justice is thinking, "Wow, Gilsoo is really strong." He looks at Gilsoo and thinks, "I thought he was just a normal guy, since when is he this strong?" Then Dona de Mina's IA steps in, asking, "Do you know who we are?" She says, "We are the strongest in the first year at Ginseng School, and if we tell our superiors, you're screwed." The guy with the brass knuckles says, "Screw this." He adds, "Bring those guys here. It won't do you any good. Look at their clothes. They're from 6th Gate. I thought that weird guy wasn't from any school. I shouldn't have messed with anyone from 6th Gate. I shouldn't have even touched him." After that, they grab their bikes and take off. One guy just says, "Huh, idiot." Duel asks Gilsoo, "How did you end up getting involved with these guys?" Gilsoo explains that he's receiving special training from the principal. Duel says, "Wow, you're really taking this arena thing seriously, huh?" Gilsoo replies, "Yes, I'm still a bit weak, but I managed to take some punches from those idiots." Duel says, "Yes, I saw you raising your hands." Gilsoo thinks, "Yes, I'm so embarrassed." Meanwhile, in Kang's gang, one of the guys asks, "How did you figure out a way to deal with that idiot?" Another asks, "Are you going to make fun of something in the arena?" Kang thinks, "No, he shot himself in the foot." He was the first guy in school to openly say he wouldn't fight in the arena anymore. When you don't fight in the arena, you lose the protection of the arena. In other words, violence is no longer prohibited outside the arena. He says that even in the arena, there are some idiots who go there just to watch and never fight. One of the guys says, "Yes, seriously. Some guys never get into fights," and the other says they just use these rules to stay comfortable at school. But Kang says, "Yes, but the idiot Gilsoo openly said he wouldn't fight in the arena anymore. And you know what happens when you challenge one of them outside the arena?" One of the guys says, "If we challenge one of those idiots, they'll have to fight because they don't want to end up like Gilsoo." Kang says, "Arena is now our playground." When he returns to the arena, the first person to speak to him is the principal, who looks very intimidating. Kang asks, "What do you mean? Why are you here? I don't think I broke any rules." The principal walks past, saying, "You better not keep being this bad." Kang says, "I'm sorry for causing this commotion. I'll be more careful next time, principal." The next morning, Gilsoo is taking a heavy beating from the principal during training. He's thinking that at this rate, he's going to die. But suddenly, he manages to block one of the principal's punches and is even stunned by it. He thinks, "I have to progress, I'm not afraid anymore." The principal says, "Yes, it looks like you're getting used to the punches, huh?" Gilsoo tries to counterattack, but the principal dodges. He thinks, "If I want to win a fight, I have to hit." He starts punching in a cartoonish way like he did before, but obviously, he's getting it all wrong. The principal punches him and says, "Shut up. Stop making those sounds when you punch, it sounds weird." Gilsoo, writhing on the ground, thinks, "Wow, he hit me harder this time." The principal says, "This is called a 1-2. If you master the 1-2, you can win any fight." He takes Gilsoo to an old arcade club and asks, "Why are we here? This place is super old." When he opens the door, he sees a bald man, but it's actually just a punching machine. The principal starts explaining the technique, saying you have to keep your fists at chin level and lock your jaw. He tells Gilsoo to place one foot shoulder width apart and move it slightly. He says to punch with the front hand slowly, and with the second punch, he hits the face of the dummy with a powerful blow. Gilsoo thinks, "My god, that looked like a bullet." He then thinks, "Okay, now it's my turn." He throws the first punch and thinks he has to put his weight into the second punch. He manages to hit the dummy. He thinks, "Okay, I get it," but he only scores a single point. The principal says, "These weak punches won't get you anywhere," and hits the dummy again. He explains that the machine broke a long time ago and only counts punches by impact, not by the number of hits. He tells Gilsoo he has to punch hard for the machine to register his hit, and that's how he'll learn to really hit the enemy. The principal says, "You have to find your own form, but don't come in front of me until you reach this score," showing 99,999 points. Meanwhile, Eyebrow is walking down the hall, talking to his girl, and says, "Damn, she's acting like this again. What did I do wrong?" Suddenly, he bumps into someone. It's Yando from Kang's gang, and he knocks Eyebrow down. His phone falls and breaks. Yando says, "Oh, sorry, I bumped into you by accident." Eyebrow accuses, "You did that on purpose." Yando says, "No, of course not. What's that look on your face?" Then Yando adds, "If you have a problem with me, let's settle it in the arena." "No, it was my fault." Yando warns, "Be careful next time." Duel helps his friend up and says, that idiot did it on purpose. Duel's going to talk to the council. His friend says, no, leave it. It's not worth it. Duel looks at the class with a serious face. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria at lunchtime, Gilsoo is eating a large plate very quickly. He says he's been punching that machine until lunchtime, and no matter how much he eats, he's still hungry. He thinks he's punched the machine over 100 times, and the score remains the same. He's reflecting on how strong his punch needs to be. Suddenly, Yondo dumps his entire tray on Gilsoo's head and says, careful there. Oh, sorry. While Gilsoo continues eating as if nothing happened, Young-ho says, oh, I didn't see you there. Sorry, it was an accident. He starts patting Gilsoo's shoulder repeatedly, pretending to be friendly but clearly isn't. He adds, it's good to see you after so long. Danny asks, are you okay, Gilsoo? Earlier, the group was gathered, and one of the guys said, screw it. Oh my god, that was so funny. Yonggu bumped into the guy and then apologized. Kong then says, now we have to do this to Gilsoo. We need to force him to challenge one of us in the arena, so he knows what happens when he messes with us. Yonggu says, you don't need to bother with this insect. Leave it to me. But at that moment, Gilsoo grabs Yonggu's hand. Yonggu says, so now you've learned to resist, huh? You look so cute when you're angry. Gilsoo thinks, what do I do now? He remembers the principal saying he would ban him from the arena until the end. He believes the principal forbade him from doing this, but he wants to while gripping Yonggu's wrist tightly. At that moment, Duel throws his tray and says, I'm eating, shut up. The tray hits Yonggu squarely in the face. Then Duel says, didn't they tell you not to bother a dog while it's eating? Everyone is shocked, including Gilsoo. Duel adds, you should know your limits here, idiot. Are you crazy? Want to die? Yongo, trying to compose himself, says, my bad, dude. This school isn't about violence. My hand slipped. Yondo thinks, that son of a Jean Duel says, anyway, I've been wanting to fight you, so this works out great for me. Come to the arena tonight, and I'll teach you a lesson. Later, we see Jean Duel and Lee Gilsoo together. Lee Gilsoo says, sorry, you got into a huge mess because of me. Jean Duel replies, what are you talking about, man? I didn't act because of you. Even though you were the target, I didn't fight for you. I've wanted to deal with Kang's gang for a long time. I can't stand seeing their antics in the arena anymore. Lee Gilsoo asks, antics? Jean Duel explains, you probably don't know because you weren't here from the start, right? Those jerks always pick on the weak, threatening them and then breaking them in the arena. First, they say a bunch of stuff to stress and intimidate them outside school, so these people have no choice but to join the arena. It's clear Lee Gilsoo doesn't like this one bit. Jean Duel continues, I never had the chance to fight them, but now I do, and that's great. I can't keep watching the arena in its current state. Lee Gilsoo asks, but why do you care so much about protecting the arena? You're already strong. Whether the arena runs or not, you can manage without it, right? Do you have a reason? Jean Duel responds, I went through a dark time just like you, man. We see some flashbacks of Jean Duel. He was fat and shy when he was younger and was severely bullied in middle school. One day, someone saved him from that hell. The savior said, you guys should be nicer to your classmate. Jean Duel thanks him, and the man hands him a flyer, asking, kid, would you like to try boxing? Jean Duel explains that the man was the director of a boxing gym. He tried boxing for the first time in his life and started training with that master, becoming obsessed with the sport. He lost weight, got in shape, and transformed himself. Jean Duel says, after my transformation, no one could make fun of me anymore. Even those idiots pretending to be gangsters never messed with me again. Lee Gilsoo thinks Jean Duel was bullied too. Jean Duel continues, even though Jang's rules for the arena are a bit extreme, I like that you can fight with your own power without fear of getting jumped in the middle of school. That's why I want to keep the arena running as much as possible, and you're going to watch as I break Yondo's face. Later, in the arena, they're about to face off. Yondo says, I don't know what got into you to challenge me to a fight, but I'll show you how stupid your decision was. Jean Duel responds, are you here to fight with words, or are we starting? The referee announces, ready? Good luck. Fight! Yondo is the first to attack, trying to land a punch on Jean Duel, who dodges. This impresses Yondo. Jean Duel keeps dodging several of Yondo's punches, and, with his guard up, manages to counterattack. The crowd comments, man, I didn't know Jean Duel was so fast. His reaction time is no joke. Yondo thinks, he's faster than I expected. He trains in boxing. His footwork is very good. You can tell Jean Duel's footwork is incredibly fast in combat. Now, Jean Duel is the one pressing the attack. Yondo thinks he might be fast, but his punches are very weak. I was a little surprised, but I'm stronger. Jean Duel keeps attacking, but Yondo notices that his punches really do hurt less than expected. Now I have a chance, Yondo thinks as Jean Jin Duil seems to lower his guard, but it was on purpose, a bait. Yando takes a hook. Nice try, says Jin Duil. Yando thinks, that bastard did it on purpose just to lure me in. Even Lee Gil-soo is impressed. He's strong. Yando hasn't landed a single punch on him yet. I didn't know Jin Duil was this strong. If it keeps going like this, Yando's winning streak will end. Jin Duil is still dominating the fight, but Yando doesn't give up. Damn it, why can't I land a single hit? If your jabs aren't hitting me, do you really think your other punches will? Yando takes another punch to the face. First, you have to land the small ones, then the big ones will knock them down, says Jin Duil, delivering a powerful punch that floors Yando. After talking so much trash, is this all you've got, Yando? You're this weak, and you still keep fighting others? Stop messing around in the arena. Yando looks at the crowd and sees Kong up there, very worried. Don't worry, I'm not going to lose this, thinks Yando. Okay, I admit it, you're better than me at boxing, but now I'll fight my way. Yando's stance changes completely, lifting his leg. Jin Duil finds the stance strange, but it looks like Yando is going to use his legs in the fight. Come at me now, bastard, says Yando. Jin Duil thinks, that stance. He's going to try to kick me. Sorry, but I can kick too. When Jin Duil kicks Yando's shin, he feels a lot of pain. Why is his leg so hard? Yando tries to follow up with a punch, but Jin Duil dodges. I need to keep my distance from him. Where do you think you're going? Yando quickly moves toward Jin Duil. He's going to kick me again. I can block this with my arm, Jin Duil thinks, but when he blocks, he feels intense pain. What's with his power? I blocked it, but it still hurt a lot. Yando keeps landing several kicks on Jin Duil. The kicks are so strong that they fracture Jin Duil's forearm bones. Jin Duil has completely lost control of the fight. Come on, what are you doing? Come at me like before, or are you scared? Yando taunts. Why are my kicks so strong? They're on another level compared to my punches. Another kick from Yando puts Jin Duil in trouble. Yando keeps punching Jin Duil, who can't close his defense. Now my punches are landing, huh? I was so worried about the kicks that I couldn't read his moves, Jin Duil thinks. Yando says, you told me not to mess around in the arena, right? What kind of crap do you think I am? He kicks Jin Duil's shin. You think you're so high and mighty that you can lecture me, you idiot? Jin Duil thinks, damn, my legs are frozen. Yando prepares to kick Jin Duil in the face, but the referee intervenes. Stop now. Your opponent can't continue the fight. I'm ending it here. The referee is a third-year student and a council member named Hyo Gyunhae. Later, Lee Gil-soo helps Jin Duil out of the arena. It hurts, doesn't it? Says Lee Gil-soo. It's more than just pain. I'm disappointed that I lost to that guy. Now that I have the confidence to face those causing chaos in the arena. Jin Duil replies, you were winning at first, but his kicks were stronger than I expected. He remembers the kick that nearly ended him. Thanks for helping me, man. You must be tired. Go get some water. Lee Gil-soo says, no, relax. I have an appointment now. An appointment at this hour? Yeah, thanks, man. Jin Duil thinks, where's he rushing off to? The next day, in the third class of the first year, a student says, what crap is this you're giving me? This is useless to me. Another replies, anyway, your gang accepted us, so this is a token of gratitude. I care more about talent than gifts. If talent is what you need, you'll have no problems. Kong says, well, do your best from now on. One of the gang members says, Kong, I don't think Lee Gil-soo came to school today. Kong asks, why are you bringing him up now? Wasn't it time to beat him up? The situation changed thanks to you. Kong takes Yando somewhere and explains, basically, when you beat Jin Duil, it proved we're strong. Because of that, the weak are even more scared. If we touch weaklings like Lee Gil-soo, we're screwed. We'll ruin our reputation. Now, we need to beat the strong. Let's move to the next step. They meet several other students, much bigger and older. Who are these losers? These are third-year seniors. Hello, seniors. We just wanted to talk. I have nothing to say to first-year punks. Where do you think you are? It should make sense. You think we're newbies, but that's only because we're from my brother's legendary generation. Apparently, Kang's brother had a great reputation at the school, so he's the brother of that bastard. Huh? Now you've been sidelined by Jang and are hiding like retired old men. What did you say? Punk, I'll break you. The situation starts to change, and even the seniors get interested. We need to take measures in the arena. Watching people break the rules like this will shake the arena's foundation. We can't let these freshmen's immature actions continue. And there's that gang, you know who it is, right? Kang's younger brother. Even if they abuse the rules, they are still rules. So, are you saying you're just going to watch what's happening? Even if I intervene and stop what's happening, will the arena go back to what it was before? The situation is tense, with the director realizing the arena is being corrupted somehow. His phone rings, an important call. He goes to the game club and finds Lee Gil-soo sitting on the floor, shirtless, exhausted. I'm sure I told you to only contact me when you got some points. What happened? Are you ready to give up? The director asks. Lee Gil-soo replies, actually, that's why I called you. The training dummy is covered in blood. He achieved the 9,999 points. Now you're going to teach me the next lesson, says Lee Gil-soo. We go back to the moment when Lee Gil-soo rushes off after helping Jin Duil. I need to get strong fast, he thinks, arriving at the game club and punching the training dummy. The only thing I can do is work hard, even with my weak fists. If I punch thousands of times, I'll achieve something, right? He remembers the director saying he needs to punch hard enough for the machine to register the impact. I lack power and weight. The best thing I can do is improve my stance, thinks Lee Gil-soo, finally managing to land a punch that registers on the machine. He keeps punching all night, his fists bleeding and nearly raw, until he achieves the required score. Teach me the next lesson, says Lee Gil-soo. That was faster than I expected, replies the director. I didn't have much choice. I have no time to waste, says Lee Gil-soo. Then let's move to the next training. Better get ready, Lee Gil-soo. This one's going to be tough. Suddenly, Lee Gil-soo collapses from exhaustion, and the director smiles. Resting is also part of training. The following night, in the arena, Yongdo is ready to fight, but no one has challenged him yet. Not even half the people showed up today. They're all scared. Huh? Yongdo taunts. Who's scared? I think I need to educate the first years. Choi Seok-won, a second year from the student council, enters the arena. I've hated your dragon tattoo since the first time I saw it. That's reason enough to fight, right? Yongdo is shocked. The referee, also from the student council, thinks he can't watch this happen any longer. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, until someone enters the arena. What's going on here? Folks, what's with the atmosphere? It's a second-year senior. I came to fight in the arena. I'm also part of the 6 gates. Choi Seok-won taunts. Cut the crap, punk. You know exactly why you stopped coming here. The senior suggests, let's forget what happened and take advantage of the fact that fewer people are here today. What do you think, Kong? Are you scared? Meanwhile, from Lee Gil-soo's perspective, he's taken to a construction site. What kind of training are we doing in a dark place like this? He thinks. Jang appears and asks, you found the place, huh, kid? Jang, what kind of training are we doing today? Jang starts explaining the history of the 6 gates, how the high schools in Yeongjong fought for the title of the strongest. The 6 gates dominated the territory, and other schools scattered. The territory you're standing on now belongs to Jinsang Technical School. Even though inter-school fights don't happen anymore, if members from another school invade, it's a clear declaration of war. Jang locks the gate, leaving Lee Gil-soo inside. The gate only opens from this side, so you'll have to get out on your own. There's no better experience than real combat. Jang, what are you doing? Lee Gil-soo asks, terrified. Someone behind him shouts, who's the idiot talking so loudly in our territory? Look who it is, the loser from 6 gates, says one of the Jinsang Technical School members, recognizing Lee Gil-soo. I knew I heard that name somewhere before. You know very well the difference between then and now, right? I'm so glad you came here, but you must be fearless to have come on your own. You're gonna die today, you idiot. Ah, already scared, moron? But one of the guys stops and analyzes what Lee Gil-soo is doing. Look at that, he's mumbling something. Before I break your jaw, got something to say? Speak up. Lee Gil-soo, recalling the lessons from the director, raises his fists to chin height, pulls his jaw back, aligns his legs with his shoulders, and makes short, quick steps. First, he throws a light punch, hitting the aggressor's chin, catching him off guard. In the second move, he steps back with his front leg, shifts his body weight, and without fear, lands a second punch right in the guy's face. Everyone from Jinsang Technical School is shocked. The aggressor bleeds as Lee Gil-soo thinks, nice, it's working. Meanwhile, back in the arena, a guy is already begging for mercy to avoid dying. The one responsible is Hyo Gyunhaeg, a third year. If I had known fighting in the arena was this fun, I'd have come sooner. I didn't know the student council members were this weak, he says. Don't get too cocky, moron. Fight someone your size before you celebrate. He looks around and sees only the third-year veterans left. The arena rules have been abused for a long time, but Choi Seok-won stayed in the shadows until now because he knew it wouldn't be a problem for him. Kong asks, what made you bring him? Seok-won, if you're so confident, why not arrange a fight outside the arena? Hyo Gyunhaeg sends a message, tell Jang this, let's fight in a real place, not this playground. Back at the construction site, Lee Gil-soo continues fighting. This is much better, he thinks as he punches the aggressor. Another guy gets pissed and comes at him, landing a punch on Lee Gil-soo's face, but his face doesn't even move. A punch from a punk like you doesn't hurt, he says, returning a punch that sends the guy flying. Another aggressor comes with his guard down and takes another punch to the face, being thrown far away. Is he the same guy as before? The others think. Lee Gil-soo is dominating. You idiot, do you know what you just did? Now you're screwed. Why is there a kid from 6 gates here? I've got to deal with him, says another aggressor. Lee Gil-soo thinks, damn, there are so many of them here, it's impossible to fight them one-on-one. I need something. He grabs a motorcycle, in a move like a bike thief. Are you crazy? Get off there now, yells one of the aggressors. If I can't face them directly, I'll have to use a tool, thinks Lee Gil-soo. He doesn't know how to ride the bike and is all over the place. This is harder to ride than I thought, he thinks, while the aggressors mock him. But he accelerates the bike and jumps off it, knocking down the first aggressor and scattering the others. Who said I was going to ride it, moron, he says, punching the guy and running off. At least I got out of that situation. If I fight them one by one, I might win. I never thought I'd miss that arena. Wait a minute, maybe I can manage even without the arena. He sees the aggressors climbing a narrow staircase. Come fight fight me here, cowards, he taunts. The aggressors think he's cornered himself. There's nowhere to run now, they say, charging at him. Lee Gil-soo punches the first one, and the second, who comes with a high guard, also takes a punch to the chin. The aggressors fall on top of each other. In a narrow staircase like this, I can fight them one by one, and I still have the high ground advantage. This will be easy, he thinks. If I can beat these guys, I'll get out of here. As Lee Gil-soo was about to throw another taunt, a bowl flies at his head, spilling noodles and beans everywhere. Right after, a guy kicks him, making him roll down the stairs. The aggressor, a veteran from Jinsang Technical School, says, "Damn, I was eating my black bean noodles, and suddenly someone in a Six Gates uniform shows up in my sight. Damn, to think someone was upstairs." But Lee Gil-soo doesn't give up and charges at him too, only to take a knee to the face. Who is this guy? He seems much stronger than the others. I'll give you 10 minutes. Beat him up and bring him to me, orders the veteran. Everyone charges at Lee Gil-soo to start beating him. I lost my bowl of food because of him. I think 10 minutes is too long. In 5 minutes, he won't be able to take it anymore, says one of the aggressors. Lee Gil-soo is enduring the kicks and punches, thinking, damn, because of this guy, they're getting bold. He sees they're even using baseball bats. Fighting these guys won't get me anywhere, he thinks. The veteran hears the sounds of the brawl upstairs and thinks, these new students aren't very reliable, are they? I need all of them to handle one loser like him. Suddenly, Lee Gil-soo comes charging down the stairs, shocking the veteran. I don't need 5 minutes, you idiot, he says, headbutting the veteran and sending him rolling down the stairs. The aggressors are worried about the veteran, but he just tells them to get Lee Gil-soo. Lee Gil-soo is happy his plan worked. Finally, I did it. Now I need to find the exit. He sees a gate similar to the other one, but open. Suddenly, he hears the sound of a motorcycle, and a guy starts circling Lee Gil-soo. Tied to the bike is the first aggressor he knocked down. Did you mess this guy up? Asks the guy on the bike. I can't believe he lost to a loser like you. Actually, you're as cute as he is. I like cute things. His name is Hook Jin, and he's basically the boss of Jinsang Technical School. Lee Gil-soo thinks, carrying someone like that on a bike, this guy is a psychopath. Hook Jin says, so you guys came too. What did he do to you, guys? Wait a moment, I'll give you plenty of love too. No, sir, I can handle him. Don't touch my prey, says one of the aggressors, his aura as threatening as a snake. Even Hook Jin's allies are shocked. Lee Gil-soo thinks, aura? So he's the boss here. He's shorter than me, and Jang is much more muscular than him. I think I can do this. He prepares and thinks, I won't waste time. Jang said the 1-2 combo works on anyone. First, he tries a jab, but Hook Jin dodges. You're so cute, says Hook Jin, grabbing Lee Gil-soo's leg. Damn, he's insanely strong, thinks Lee Gil-soo as he's slammed to the ground, spitting blood. No, you can't pass out yet. Play with me a little longer, says Hook Jin, performing a wrestling move that throws Lee Gil-soo to the ground. Damn, at this rate I'll die, thinks Lee Gil-soo. The others were mocking him, but the veteran tells them to shut up because their turn is next. You haven't passed out yet, right? Hold on a bit longer. So cute, says Hook Jin. Lee Gil-soo kicks Hook Jin in the face and says, why is a shorty like you calling others cute? You're the cute one here, idiot. What? Did you call me cute? Says Hook Jin, while the others expect Lee Gil-soo to die for saying that. The veteran explains, Hook Jin was severely bullied as a child for being small, so no matter what you say, just don't call him cute. Lee Gil-soo thinks, why did the atmosphere change so much? As Hook Jin starts letting go of his neck. Well, if that's how it is, says Hook Jin, this time grabbing Lee Gil-soo with his legs and starting to choke him. Let's go quickly, straight to my hell, he says, applying a leg lock. Damn, I can't move or breathe, thinks Lee Gil-soo. The psychopath, Hook Jin, is drooling with pleasure. The hell choke has started, says another veteran. Anyone caught in this technique can't move their arms or legs. You won't escape until you lose consciousness. So, do you still think I'm cute? Say I'm cute. Lee Gil-soo realizes he's on a completely different level and thinks he's really going to die. Suddenly, something surprises everyone, including Hook Jin. Despite being choked, Lee Gil-soo starts to stand up. I can't fall here, he thinks. Hook Jin says, you're really cute, aren't you? He shifts positions to choke Lee Gil-soo from the other side. I like you. You're mine forever now. Hook Jin slams Lee Gil-soo to the ground again, choking him with his arm. The Jinsang record was 7 seconds. How long can you last? Damn, I'm going to pass out. I can't. I don't want to lose to these punks again, thinks Lee Gil-soo. He stops struggling, appearing to finally pass out. Hook Jin comments, now you're cute again. This guy was so funny. I'll take him with me to play a little more. Everyone is relieved that Lee Gil-soo finally stopped resisting. As Hook Jin carries Lee Gil-soo, we see that he's pretending to be unconscious. This was the technique he always used before being transferred. Faking unconsciousness was the method that truly kept him alive, using his pinky finger to protect the carotid artery in his neck. He thinks, I learned this method when I was weak. When Hook Jin realizes Lee Gil-soo is awake, he's caught off guard. Lee Gil-soo takes advantage and hits Hook Jin in the face with a rock, causing him to bleed heavily. Lee Gil-soo runs off. I did it. I took him down. I just need to get through that gate. Hook Jin, still chasing him, says, where do you think you're going, cutie? You still need to play with me. Lee Gil-soo thinks, damn, Bam, I hit him with a rock and he's still moving. I'm so close to getting out. At that moment, Jang appears and says, Hook Jin from Jinsang School, your next attack will be against the entire 6 gates. Lee Gil-soo realizes he managed to cross the edge of the gate, entering 6 gates territory. Hook Jin says, so you're Jang? What luck, I've wanted to face you. The era of 6 gates is over, now it's Jin-san's era. Jang simply prepares a punch and lands the biggest punch of Hook Jin's life right in the face. Even Lee Gil-soo feels sorry for his opponent. Oh my god, I've never seen such an atrocity. Jang comments, as expected, the people from Jinsang haven't evolved at all. They only start behaving when you beat them up. Hook Jin is left wrecked on the ground. Jang says, you passed the stage, kid. Now there's just one last step. Go to the school rooftop tomorrow morning. The next morning, Lee Gil-soo thinks he won't be able to complete his training. He's protecting Jin Duil, you and I in the arena later, because a punk like you is going to die today. And that's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. It took a while, but it's here because we were waiting for the chapters to release and redid everything. It just finished now. If you want part 3, we'll have to wait for all the new chapters to come out again. Leave a like, which is very important, subscribe to the channel, and the comment that gets a heart will be from someone who answers this question. How many points on the punch machine were needed for Lee Gil-soo to pass his test? See you next time and goodbye.